Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. This episode is brought to you by Pulsetto, the vagus nerve stimulator that biohacks your parasympathetic nervous system. Let's face it, we can't avoid stress in our lives, but we can learn how to handle it better. And in order to do that, we need to relearn how to switch our body's programming from the constant fight-or-flight mode back to the rest and repair mode. And you're probably thinking, that's certainly easier said than done when you A, don't have much time, and B, don't know how to do that. And that's where the Pulsetto device can be super helpful. It uses electrostimulation to help you activate your parasympathetic nervous system in as little as 4 minutes a day. 86% of users report feeling calmer and less stressed after using Pulsetto, and I can vouch for that. I've had some trouble with sleep, therefore I especially love the 10-minute sleep setting that helps me relax and fall asleep faster. And as we all know, good sleep is so important. So if you have trouble relaxing and you've been looking for a way to improve your sleep, why not give this a try? For more info, check out episode 208 of the podcast, in which I interview the co-founder of Pulsetto. And for a 10% discount on your order, go to pulsetto.tech/wiredforsuccess. That's pulsetto.tech/wiredforsuccess. Enjoy. Without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. And today, I'm delighted to bring you a new Leaders or Readers Wired for Success book club episode, where I invite nonfiction authors to discuss their latest books from the science, self-development, and entrepreneurship categories. And I love books. So this is always a special treat for me. And since I haven't done one of these features in a while, this is something I really look forward to. And my guest today is radical reset expert and founder of Fix Coaching and Consulting, Dana L. Cox. In her new book, From Burnout to Badass, Flip the Script on Your Work-Life Balance, Dana shares her insights and strategies for breaking the cycle of overwork and burnout. And boy, don't we all need less stress and more balance? I certainly do. So welcome, Dana, and thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you, Claudia, for having me and sharing your platform with me. I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Dana, the first question has to be, why did you write your new book? What's the main message, and why is that so important to you?
You know, it's interesting that you ask. It started off more as a journaling exercise, writing it for me, and just really kind of writing down the journey that I had been through. And then, of course, I started having conversations with other professionals and learning that I wasn't the only one having such an experience. And I was like, oh, if I'm not the only one having such an experience, then there are others out there that maybe can use this information. And so that's really how I got started. But I didn't ever think I would experience burnout, being a high achieving, high performing individual, doing all the things that I was expected to do. I'll put it that way. I did not, I just, I'm a mom. I have a lot of children, and I was working on my career, and I just felt like, all the things that I'm juggling and balancing, I'm just a little tired. I'll catch up on my sleep and things of that nature, and found myself in the crash and burn. So I think as high achieving individuals, we never think that we're going to find ourselves in a place of burnout because we don't think we're susceptible to that. That's a lazy person's, situation or a weak situation, or it happens to other people, but it doesn't happen to me. And it's not until you find yourself there that you're like, oh crap, I'm here. How did I get here? How do I get out of here? Kind of thing. And so it really was for me an opportunity as I researched it for myself to understand how I got here. How do I
Mm.
get out of here? How do I prevent myself from getting back here? As all steps in my journey that I really kind of wanted to share with others, because it looks very different depending upon your background, your upbringing, and things of that nature. It can present very differently for individuals, and so just helping them to understand those things was really the mission.
Thank you so much for sharing. And it makes total sense. It's one of the things where, especially as a high achiever, you think like you're not a weak person. So
Mm.
you can't be that person. You can't be the person who is suffering from burnout. I totally get it. Now, I want to dig a little deeper into what you said. So you went from a high powered Fortune 500 career to coaching women through burnout. So,
Mhm.
what was the moment that you realized that you needed a radical reset yourself? Can you paint a picture for us of what your life in that moment looked like?
So I will tell you, Claudia, I think probably the last 12 to 18 months of my life has been a full on radical reset in many ways, not just professionally, but personally as well. So in the last 12 to 18 months, I left a 33-year marriage. I moved across the country. And yes, I stepped away from a Fortune 500 career into doing entrepreneurship. And many of those things happen as a result of me really thinking about and getting clear. I take time every year with myself around my birthday just to get quiet and get clear on where I am, appreciate from a gratitude perspective what I've been able to accomplish, where my life is, and where my life is going, and what that vision looks like. And I do that purely from a place of stripping everyone else's expectations away and really getting clear on what it is I want, what will make me happy, what will allow me to live my life from a place of peace, joy, happiness, and no regrets. And then what are the decisions that will allow that to become a reality? And so those were some of the things that kind of were part of that experience. When I think about the Fortune 500 role, I loved what I did, but more than what I did, I loved the team that I got to do it with. I loved the people, and that was what got me out of bed every morning was the people. It wasn't the other stuff. It was the people that that I had the opportunity to pour into to help them to unlock their own greatness. That really was the motivating factor for me. And if I could do that every day, all day, that's what I wanted to do, which is why I made the leap into coaching and consulting.
That sounds like a great pull, but what was the kind of like the push? So, what was the dark side? What was the pain?
Well, the thing was, I felt like I was starting to get back into a place of just the churn and the balance that I really think is really important between my professional success and my personal fulfillment was really work was starting to encroach
Mm.
on that personal fulfillment, and that was disrupting my peace. It was disrupting the joy. It was definitely disrupting my happy my happy.
Mm.
And I found myself becoming a version of myself that I didn't like
Mm.
because I wasn't as happy go lucky, and I was a little more, and that is not who I am. And so when I started assessing and reevaluating what was the linchpin behind all of that, it was really that I was being pushed into a space that was really encroaching on my personal aspects. And I'm really big on protecting that, right? Non negotiable boundaries and things of that nature. And I think that it's important. The work is important, but I think as a leader, it's more important to take care of the people in an appropriate and sustainable way in order for your business to be successful. And so while you have goals and you have objectives, there's a way in which you can go about meeting those goals and objectives that don't allow you to encroach on the personal lives and those responsibilities that people have outside of the workplace.
Yeah, that's so important. Now, I wonder if you imagine for a moment. You never hit burnout and you stayed on that Fortune 500 career track. What do you think that version of Dana would be like today?
Well, she would definitely be twice the size she is today, because also part of my journey back to me was I lost 142 pounds.
Wow, that's
Lost 142 pounds.
amazing.
That was part of me, carving out the time to work out and rest well and hydrate and do the things that are really about that self-care, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things, which were a very important part of this journey back to me. So I would definitely not be the size of a woman that I am today, because I was skipping a lot of meals. I was eating on the go through the drive-through all the time. And so to be able to sit down and have a meal and not be eating in my car, and not skipping lunch and having my schedule packed where I don't have time to think or strategize or barely even go to the restroom. I know there are calendars that look like that because mine has looked like that. And I also feel that the version of me would be very different than from a happiness perspective. To have my adult children say to me that they are experiencing a happier, more free, more relaxed version of me on this side of burnout. Listen, that to me is like the holy grail of all the things.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Also for reclaiming your health, because I think that's one of the most important pillars of happiness and success in my book. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Now
health is definitely wealth. Like there's different aspects
yes.
of wealth. And I think that, as entrepreneurs, to understand what is your motivation, right? What's your goal? What's your why? And is it big enough? But then you can't lose yourself in pursuit of the why. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the why, the thing we're chasing, the thing that we want to put into the world or birth or grow, that we lose ourselves. And so how do you still keep that in perspective without losing yourself, and make sure that you are giving yourself the space and the time to be your best version and pour back into you? You cannot pour from an empty cup. It's not possible.
Most entrepreneurs try though.
Oh my goodness, yes. Like, there's something lumped in there. No, there's not. There's not.
Now you talk about the success tax that women leaders often pay. What are some of the most insidious ways that high achieving women unknowingly tax themselves, and how can they start reclaiming that energy?
Ooh, there's so many ways that we tax ourselves. Like we pay with our time, most importantly, and we pay with our relationships a lot. We sacrifice those things. I've been doing a lot of research though lately, and the one thing that I find that we leave on the table in our pursuit of success is we're not really advocating for ourselves either. And so that's an area of concern. And when I say advocating, I'm not just talking about monetarily advocating, but advocating for ourselves as far as what is appropriate work hours and things of that nature, or the flexibility that we need in order to be our best version in the workplace and things of that nature. So it's all of those aspects, because I think that every woman needs to define what success looks like for her. And I think that's probably the first thing that I would say. We often use or borrow someone else's definition of success, and then we are chasing after that versus being very clear on what success looks like for me. And that can change based upon how you evolve. But what does success look like for me today? This version of me, where I am in my life, and what in defining that for yourself. And it's okay if no one else gets it. It's okay if no one else understands it. You have to just be so tied into your definition and standing, as they would say, 10 toes down for that you are immovable off of that. And once you're clear on what your definition of success is, then how you go about achieving that, the strategy you leverage to achieve that becomes really, really clear. And you can do that. We always talk about goals, but I also think it's important to think about your anti-goals. What are the things don't want to have happen, right? And I don't want to have to work on a Saturday night. I don't want to have to work on weekends. So how do you align your strategy to ensure that you're achieving your goals of success, but you're not paying the taxes of your relationships being jeopardized, your time being compromised, and things of that nature. So being very clear on what's in scope and what's out of scope as you are heading towards your goal for success.
Yeah, we should all have a not to-do list as well for those anti-goals.
Yes.
Now, this is maybe a related question. So you mentioned that women are told that they can have it all, but no one warns them about the cost. So if you could rewrite that narrative, what would the new message be?
I do believe that women can have, I personally believe that women can have it all. But I think that just like the definition of success, how you define all is also very independent to you, very much like a snowflake, right? What does that look like? What is your definition of all? And it may look very different from someone else's. For some women, having it all means a house and a car and a white picket fence and children and dogs and cats and all the things. And for other, and a 7-figure career. And for other women, it looks very different than that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. We don't have to have the same definition of all. The tax of all is really where it's in the pursuit of that, right? And how do you go about pursuing your definition, fulfilling that? And how do you make sure that you are not paying those prices? So when I talk about there's 3 pillars to that, right? It's own it, earn it, and protect it. It's really, the tax area is really in protecting that. And how do you protect your time? How do you protect your energy? Are you prioritizing yourself and self-care? I've run into a lot of women that talk about, oh, I had a self-care day. And when I ask them what they've done, they're like, oh, I got my hair done and I got my nails done. I'm like, that's not self-care. In my definition of self-care is the things that allow you to have the mental peace and really refresh and reflect. And getting my hair done and getting my nails done, those are things I'm going to do anyway. Those are grooming routines. In my opinion, those are grooming routines. I have not run into a woman that is not going to have her hair done just so when she's presenting herself to the world, right? Nails, probably not so much, but definitely going to make sure that their hair is in place and things of that nature. But self-care is really about giving yourself the mental space and to care for yourself mentally, to whether you have a relationship with a higher power or whatever that may be, meditation, prayer, making sure you have that time each and every day to just kind of tap in and ground yourself, making sure that you have time to think through and reflect on today, on your life, where you are, where you're going, and measuring yourself against where you were yesterday, not comparing yourself to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's you against you, right? And how do you measure how did you show up today compared to yesterday? Was there an improvement? Even if it's small, it's a win, and giving yourself the opportunity to count those wins.
Yeah, so true. Especially the comparison trap is something that so many of us fall into. We just see the highlight reels on Instagram and think like everyone is doing so much better.
Well, my grandmother used to say this to me, and she's like, you can recognize things in other people because they reside in you. The difference is they've learned how to unlock it and release it. You just need to figure out how to unlock it and release it. You can see it because you also have it.
Yeah, true. Now, especially women often find themselves taking on leadership responsibilities without the title or pay to match. So what's your advice? What's your advice for women stuck in this cycle?
Well, I think I do believe that we have to show up and demonstrate our leadership skills and abilities. And so you have to demonstrate you are ready for that next level. But you also have to be willing to have the crucial conversation to negotiate, right? I've been doing X for Y period of time. This is what the impact I've been able to make in this role. This is what I believe is the right next step. And having that conversation and not being afraid to have that conversation. Too often we take on things and we just hope and pray, Claudia. We hope and pray that they'll somehow, come along with a magic wand and just bestow the title on us. And that's not how the game works. That's not how it works at all. It's really important that you are clear on where it is you want to go. You have a strategy on how you're going to get there and the things you're willing to do. But you also need to be in a position to, I would say, talk about your measurable impact. Too often I see proposals for promotion, and they read more like I don't even know how to even describe it. It was more like an affirmation list. I am a player. I'm a this. I'm a that. And I'm like, but what did you do? What did you contribute? Did you generate revenue? Did you reduce costs? Did you optimize something and reduce the time that it takes to get to here? What was the impact, the value of your role and the impact you had on the organization? Talk to them in those terms. Not that they don't care that you're a team player, but that's not the data point that matters. So it's important for women to understand their numbers. And when I say understand their numbers, one, they need to understand what their salary number is and be able to say it without apology and say it without apology. And here's the thing, if you can't say it to yourself without apology, you're not saying it to anyone else. So practice it in the mirror. I am worth, fill in the blank with that number. I am worth. And if you can say it too easily, then the number is absolutely too small. The number should make you sweat just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that especially women have such a hard time having these types of conversations?
I think part of it is conditioning, right? I think we've been conditioned to kind of keep your head down, work hard. Eventually someone will notice you. It's kind of like the nice girl syndrome. You don't want to be seen as aggressive. But then the other thing is the fear of rejection, fear of hearing the word no. And I'd like to tell my clients is that we need to reframe our relationship with rejection. No is just a data point. No means, okay, negotiate. And then come back with the next question. Do you see me as someone you don't see me ready for promotion now? You don't see me ready for leadership now? What do you need to see in the next 6 months in order for you to be willing to support my promotion into that role? Or what skills do I need to demonstrate over the next X period of time in order for you to feel that I am ready for that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I've noticed in myself that I struggle with the rejection part. So I've always tried, not always, I've tried to reframe it as rejection equals redirection, because that somehow feels like, okay, this is a good thing.
Yeah. And it's okay to have a follow-up to that. Don't just take the no and kind of drop your head and walk away, but be prepared to go, okay, you don't see that I'm ready right now. What does ready look like? And what do you need to see from me in the next 6 months in order for us to revisit this conversation? If you're not asking that, to keep the door open and to let them know, that's also demonstrating your leadership, your thought leadership, right? I'm just not asking this question and going to shrink into the corner. I'm having a strategy conversation with you now for what's next. I want to know what you need to see. So when I demonstrate those things, it's an absolute yes. So you move the goalpost yes, right? So
exactly.
And the thing is, what I found is that only 30% of women negotiate their salaries. And the pay gap, we talk about the pay gap, it is so vast, but it's not shrinking. And part of it is the systems, but also part of it is our lack of willingness to even have those negotiation conversations. And I'm sure that there are some emotional things that go into it. Like if I push back to, will they rescind the offer and things of that nature? But I also think that you can't operate from a place of fear. Mindset really does set that energetic vibration. What you think about, you bring about. So if you are fearful of that, then you're going to kind of create this foregone conclusion that that is the outcome. So it's really being clear and confident in your abilities to do the job, and what you're asking for is fair, and to be able to have that conversation from a place of not aggressive, but really making sure that they understand that there's a win-win in this, for both of us, and doing it from a strategic place, because there's different negotiation styles. I've actually started recording some videos on the different negotiation styles so people can identify their negotiation style, and then how to evolve that into more of a strategic negotiation style, so it's more of a win-win outcome for them.
Oh, and that's super interesting. Can you tell us a little more about those styles?
Yeah, so the first style is the fighter. They approach negotiation like a fight, basically, and they see everyone as an opponent. And so when you do that, when you approach a negotiation like it's a fight, you might get your outcome, but then at the detriment of other things, right? You might get the money today or the role today, but now you're on the radar as someone who's difficult to work with, and things of that nature. It may ruin future opportunities for you. There is the avoider. They just avoid at all costs. They don't want to negotiate. They will just take whatever is given them. And that's a challenge as well, right? Because you don't want to be the one to do that, right? If you feel that you're worth something, you need to be willing to speak up and say something. There's the compromiser. The compromiser knows their worth. They will have the conversation, but then they will quickly negotiate against themselves. I deserve a 15% raise, but if that's too much, I'll take 5. Okay. It's like, give the people a chance to process, to think about what you've just put on the table. There's the people pleaser. Their approach to it is they want to please the other person. They're really more focused on the other person. And then there's the strategist, right? That is really the last style. They look at it from a win-win situation. They are positioning it in such a way that this is what I'm expecting. This is why I'm asking for this. This is the benefit to you as well as to me in this outcome. And so that is really the type of way that you should approach all negotiations. But yes, those are the styles. And so I've just been recording some short videos about each of them, the challenge with those, and then the last one will be how to tie it all together. Because this way people can then identify, oh, that's how I've been doing it. This is why it hasn't worked out for me. Or, oh, this is the way that this is what it models. This is the model I should follow, how I can then adjust my style to that.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Let's bring it back to the burnout, because what I've noticed in myself is that burnout is always kind of a mismanagement of energy. That's what it basically comes down to. So what are some of the most powerful yet often overlooked energy management strategies that you yourself use and that you also maybe cover in your book?
So energy is everything.
It is, right?
But I think it's important to understand what things fuel you and what things deplete you. But that requires us to take enough time to really understand us. And for a long time, I didn't understand what fueled me, what depleted me. I was just constantly going, churn. I got to do. The hamster on the wheel, if you will.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, right? But it was when I took the time to really assess how I felt at the end of each day, I started journaling. How do I feel at the end of each day? Like gratitude, of course, but how do I feel? Why do I feel this way? What were the highlights? What were the things that I'm like, didn't go so well? And that is when I first started understanding when I, even to the point where when I meet with this person at the end of the day, it drains me. I can't meet with them at the end of the day. Like when I meet with this person, it needs to be first thing in the morning, right after my coffee, in order for me to be able to kind of push through and be at my best. By the end of the day, I'm already spun and they just take me into a different level. So I need to move this person to the top of the day. So even getting to a point where you understand how you feel after engaging with certain people is really important so that you can then manage your time and your calendar. Being intentional about blocking off focus time on my calendar and my workouts really were the other thing, and not giving that time away for it. And you don't have to explain that to anybody. I think that's the other thing. We feel the need to over explain ourselves. I'm not available from 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Another time that we can meet.
Yep. Simple.
Just simple. And not, I was going to work out, but I can really, if it's really important, I can skip my workout. You don't have to do all of that. And we do too much explaining. Not available. Is there another time? And it's either yes or no. But don't be intentional about protecting that time because it's for you to get your cup refilled. What are the things that refill your cup? For me, it's a good cup of tea in a specific spot on my sofa and a good book that makes me feel good. And not just anybody. I'm not big on fictional books, but I'm more of a non-fictional girl. Give me a good leadership book and I am curled up with my cup of tea and I'm just like those pages alive. That fills my cup. So getting clear on the things that really fill your cup. Maybe it's walking in nature. I do like my walks in the park. So getting grounded outside in the weather, and sometimes it's even in the rain. I know it sounds crazy, but I like not pouring rain, but a little sprinkle. I love the smell of the grass. And so there's a park near my house where I go and I walk the path, and I love just the smell of the rain and the smell of the grass, and it just grounds me. And I get some of my best ideas walking in the rain. And when I come back, I'm so energized. So just really getting clear on what are the things that are fuel for you from an energy perspective, and being mindful of how you feel after certain things. That's going to help you understand, like, oh, this really lights me up, or oh, this drains me. And then the things that light you up, try to add more of those into your schedule. And the things that deplete you, it's okay to say no, period. No explanation, no, period. It's fine. Those are some of the things that work for me is my yoga and Pilates, my walks outside, a good cup of tea and a great book on the sofa, and a nap. That's my other new favorite thing. I like to nap now. Well, I'm a grandma, and so I would put the grandchildren down for a nap, and I'm like, okay, well, they're napping. What do I do? And of course, I'm like doing laundry and other stuff. I'm like, no, they're napping. I need to nap. I need to refuel myself, because when this 3-year-old gets up, they're going to want to play. And I'm going to be tired because I've done all these other things. So I now take power naps. Are amazing. They are.
Love them.
I highly recommend a good power nap. But there are lots of time management and energy management tools that are out there for people to leverage. But I think the biggest thing is getting clear on what fuels your energy and what depletes your energy is first and foremost the most important aspect.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I've also seen that for most people, those are the things that get canceled first because they are kind of not important. they don't increase your bottom line. That's the first thought that people have. It's like, okay, going for a walk is nice, but I could be earning money during that time, so I'll just skip it.
Well, I think the thing is it does contribute to the bottom line if you are showing up as a better version of yourself.
I
If you
agree.
have more energy, if you have more clarity, then it does have an impact on your bottom line and how you show up in the space for those that you are leading, with your customers, things of that nature. I think for me, it made me a better, focusing on my self-care made me a better leader, first and foremost. I also think that I demonstrated it for my team, which allowed them to understand what taking care of themselves looked like in order for them to do such and not feel like it was something that they were like scared to do. And so then I would say that is how my team became a high performing team, because it created a safe space, a safe culture where everyone was doing the things that they needed to do to take care of themselves first and foremost. And the work got done. It got done. Actually, it got done better than it exceeded a lot of my expectations, which made me proud. But it also like made my bosses proud, right? So I just am a firm believer. If you take care of yourself and you take care of the people that you're leading, they will take care of the work, and they will take care of it in such a way that it exceeds your expectations. Anything that you could even imagine, it would exceed that, because they feel like you see them, you understand them, and they want to also make you proud in how they show up in the workplace every single day.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that really, as a leader, if you model that kind of behavior, you really give your team permission to do the same. And it's an upward spiral. It's a positive spiral. And it's just everyone wins.
Everyone wins. And I know it's scary for a lot of people who have been in the workplace a long time and we've done it a certain way. I know it's new, but it's very freeing, it's very liberating, and it actually creates a level of trust, because you have to trust them and they have to trust you. And if it all works together in the good way, it makes magic. It absolutely makes magic, and it makes your team, your organization, the place where people want to come, where people want to be. And I can tell you from experience, we could post one job and get 70 to 80 applicants in less than 24 hours, because the team became the place where other people wanted to be. No one wants to leave a good environment where they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel respected, well paid, well taken care of. They don't want to leave that. That to them is like, I found a place where I can thrive professionally and personally. That's the magic sauce for them. They don't want to go, and they're like becoming walking billboards now for your organization, and everybody that they know wants to work where they work. That's how you keep a pipeline of qualified, great candidates, especially if you have a great team already working for you. You just want to replicate them.
That's the magic.
That's the magic.
I understand you also incorporate ancestral wisdom and sacred practices into leadership. What does that look like?
So, for me, it's a lot of things that I've learned from my own ancestors, right? And I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. A lot of time with my grandparents, probably more than the average. I had all of my grandparents in my life until like 4 years ago, Claudia.
Lucky you.
So it was a blessing for me and for my kids, because my kids got to experience their great grandparents. No one can really say that, well into their adulthood. But it's really about, like, meditation is a big piece of that process for me. Reiki practices are another aspect that I welcome into my practice on a personal level. Those are some of the key things for me personally. But there are lots of other avenues, right? And I'm being exposed to new things every single week. And I'm like, tap, I investigate and I see if it works. Tapping is another thing that works for me.
Mhm.
It's big practice for myself that really kind of helps me and my growth.
Yeah. Now, if someone listening to this podcast is, say, deep in burnout right now,
Mhm.
what is one question they should ask themselves that could really change everything?
If they're deep in burnout, and
Yeah.
the one question I would say that they should ask themselves is, do I want to change now?
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Do I want to change now? It's not a matter of how did I get here, because that doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I will say this: you didn't get there overnight, and you're not going to come out of it overnight.
Mhm.
But you have to be willing to make the change in how you show up on a regular basis in order to get out. So if you're not willing to change anything, then that's the problem.
Yeah,
But
that's the problem right there.
right, but if you're willing to change now, then that's the first step, is saying, yes, I know something has to change, and that starts with me, and then being willing to make those changes, and seek the support that they need in order to start making those changes, and do it one step at a time. Don't like that. You have to eat the elephant one bite at a time. You can't eat the whole thing.
Mhm.
Do it slow and do it one step at a time, because you want sustained change, not overnight success, sustained change. And you want to be able to do it in such a way that you know how to keep yourself from going back. And so those are the things that I would say are really important. Do I want to
Yeah.
change now? Hopefully the answer to that is yes. And then get the support necessary in order to make the changes that you need.
I really wonder how many people are actually willing and saying yes to that question, and how many are saying like, I don't like it, but I also don't want to change. Like,
Well, that's the thing, because I think it's also a fear of we. I think it's the fear of, if I change, what are the implications on
yeah.
everyone around me, right? And yes, there will be implications on everyone around you, but you're either going to sacrifice yourself for nothing to change for them, or you're going to make the change necessary so you can be the best version. And yes, it's going to it's going to cause a ripple effect. Some things are going to change for them as well, but it will be for the benefit of the whole. So, a lot of us don't want to disrupt other people's lives, but yet we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders to our
Yeah,
detriment in a lot of cases.
true. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today?
Oh, there's so much, Claudia. But I am hosting a free training. It's called Get Paid Formula, and learn how to get positioned, promoted, and paid without burnout. So I do a free training once a week. This week I think it's Thursday.
Sounds
But
great.
I Thursday, but I do it once a week because I really want to make sure that people have practical strategies that they can use and leverage right now, whether it's being more confident in the workplace, understanding how to negotiate, position themselves in things of that nature, or just protect their time and their energy, just giving them some fundamental things that they can actually walk away from the training and do right away, immediately, to start seeing changes in their lives.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, where can people find you, and where can people find your book?
So the book is available at From Burnout to Badass.com. It's also available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Goodreads. You can find me on LinkedIn, Dana L. Cox, Facebook, Instagram. I think I'm on TikTok. All the good places, Claudia, all the good places. DanaLCox.com is my website, so you can find me there as well.
Awesome. Dana, thank you so much for sharing a sneak peek of your book with us today. I hope that people check it out and that they enjoy it, which I'm sure they will. So it's been so much fun talking with you. Keep up the great work. Take care and talk soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.